Good morning to my lovely kids. Hope you have a great day ahead. So, students, let us begin with our today's lesson from English Balbharati. Today, we will be learning lesson number 11, Be a Good Speaker. So, without wasting any time, let us start with our chapter.
Today, students, we are doing lesson 11 from English Balbharati textbook for standard 5. Be a good speaker. In today's world, effective communication is the key to success. That is, in order to be successful, you should be able to communicate very well. And to develop this communication skills, we should be good at reading, writing, listening, and speaking. In this lesson, students, we are going to learn the qualities of a good speaker. So come along, let's read and understand it. Speaking to various people throughout a day. Some people are good speakers, some are shy, some speak easily with their friends and relatives but become nervous in front of a big audience. Isn't it? There are so many people we constantly are talking and listening throughout the day. And some people are very good speakers. They can speak so very well that we would like to listen to them. We want to be with them. Isn't it? Even among your friends, you would love to listen to that person all the time. That person, you want to make that person your best friend, as well as you hear your teacher speaking so much in class. So you would like to listen to certain teachers explain the lesson so well that you would like to listen to that teacher throughout the day. You want that teacher to come more often to your class and deliver the lesson, tell about something. So there are some people who are good speakers and there are some who are shy. Okay, so they would not like to speak so well. They will be comfortable listening or writing, but they are very uncomfortable talking to people. Some speak easily with friends and relatives, isn't it? Most of us, with friends and family members, with relatives, we are very, very comfortable talking, but become very nervous in front of a big audience. So, suppose if your teacher calls you in front and tells you to recite something or tell something, suddenly you become very, very nervous. You become very self conscious. That is, what will people say? What will my friends laugh? Will teacher like it or no? So all sorts of questions come into your mind, and then you become nervous and you hardly can think and speak. Okay, so some become very nervous in front of a big audience. Audience means people who are listening to you. So those are people are called audience. What about you? What kind of a speaker are you? Are you a good speaker, very comfortable, or are you a shy speaker? Or are you a nervous speaker? Are you comfortable with friends and family? Okay, so what do you think? What kind of a speaker are you? Now, it is important to be able to speak well. Like I told you earlier, in today's world, to be successful, we should be able to communicate well. And speaking is part of communication. And if you make up your mind, it is not very difficult to do so. So it's not very difficult to speak. You are children now, but as you grow older, you have to develop that confidence and you would have to speak out. You'll have to come out and talk a lot in public among other people, other strangers sometimes in front of a big audience. So if you make up a mind and you know what are the qualities of a good speaker, how to become a good speaker, you will surely be a very good speaker. Remember these few things when you speak. So here are some points where which will help you to remember before you start speaking about something. Okay, so always remember to speak clearly. So each and every word should be very, very clear when you speak. So whenever you are uttering a word, that person should understand what you're speaking. Don't mumble. Mumble means speak in such a way that the words are not clear enough to understand. So you should speak clearly and not to mumble. So every word, every expression that you want to portray or speak out should be very clear to the person listening to it. Look at the person or persons when you talk to them. So whenever you are talking to any audience, or maybe on one basis, somebody in front of you, okay, maybe your friends, your families, or any stranger that you have to talk to, okay, so always look at that person. Don't look here and there, okay, so that way the person may, feel uncomfortable. So this, whenever you are looking at the audience, they feel connected to what you are saying, they understand well, so they feel like listening more to you. So therefore it is very important to look at the person or persons when you talk to them. Then you should not be too loud or too soft, too fast or too slow. So whenever you're speaking, don't be too loud, especially when you're using a mic. Okay, so if you're using a mic, don't scream on the mic is there. So first you have to test the mic beforehand. If you have a chance to test the mic, well and good. Or just understand the person who had spoken first, so understand and judge how you have to, at what tone or what level of your volume should be while speaking on the mic. Okay, there are often people who scream on the mic, especially when they are at a large gathering. So don't do that, because there are mics, there are speakers, there are good enough. So you have to talk in a tone very comfortable, so that everyone can comfortably hear on the speakers. Don't be too soft. Okay, soft means don't be very, very soft while speaking that no one can hear you. Okay, especially when there are no mics. Okay, so most often you are called to speak in front of the classroom. Now, in front of the classroom, there are no mics, isn't it? So you should see that your voice is loud enough so that your classmates sitting on the last bench are able to hear at the correct pace, and are comfortably, you can understand what you want to say. So you should not be too loud or too soft. Too loud will make a person irritated. Too soft also will, irritate that person, because the person can't hear, and then soon the person will get bored and want to get out of that place. Okay, don't be too fast, because don't speak very, very fast, especially if you're reading out from something. Just don't rattle away reading things. Be comfortable, express yourself well. Whatever you want to say, show it with great expectations. Use voice modulation, that is, change your voice according to what is being spoken about. Okay, so don't be very, very fast. Often there are students, or there the audience, who are writing down whatever you are saying. So remember that not to be too fast or too slow. Okay, don't be so slow. Don't just go on repeating the same thing again and again, or speak so slowly that the audience is getting bored. Okay, they would just don't want to, they want it to be fast, so it has to be at a proper pace. Now, so what can you do about this? So before even going ahead of speaking, if you have the time, you should always practice how loud or how soft you can be, how fast or how slow you can be. Think about where you are speaking. Okay, whether there will be a mic, there will not be a mic, how big a gathering it is, if it is a small group of people, whether you are just doing an impersonal talk or you are having a formal meeting. So all this you have to keep in mind and prepare for your speech or whatever you want to speak way beforehand if you have the time. Most often we don't have the time. No, we are called on the spur of the moment, especially in the classroom. We are just called by the teacher to say something. But if you are given the chance to prepare, do prepare it very sincerely and thoroughly. Just don't take for granted that, okay, I have to just do this, I'll do it well. No, you have to be prepared. Always prepare. Maybe it may be a very small thing that you have to talk about. Maybe you have to announce something. Okay, and as far as possible, keep some chits with you written down, points written down, ideas written down on what you want to speak. Often, what happens is we think that we may remember, but certain points slip out of our minds. So, it is very important that we keep some chits or some cards with pointers marked on what we want to talk about. Now, the next point is be polite. Okay, it is always good to have a polite tone. So, we have to be soft spoken, not speak softly, but we have to be soft spoken. We have to use polite words. You have to use kind words. Don't be harsh. Don't be screaming on the mic. Don't be angry, agitated. Whatever you want to say. Maybe it is a very serious point. Maybe you are angry about something, but all things, if you say it politely, it has a greater effect than shouting and screaming whenever you have to speak about something. So, use not only polite words but a polite tone and be pleasant. So, be pleasant so that the person who is listening to you is very comfortable, wants to listen to you. So, don't, just say for the sake of saying something. Okay, just don't rattle off something and just say it and get out from there. No, you have to have a pleasant and a polite tone. Then the next point is give a thought to other person's feelings and interest. Now, the person who is listening to you, maybe it must be one person, or maybe two or three people, or maybe it may be a big gathering. So, remember the feelings and interests, they are there listening to you. So, remember what they have to listen. Understand the feelings. Don't just use harsh words or just, say some unkind words or something. Okay, so always be polite, be pleasant, and think about the other person's feelings and interest. If there are two or three people, so don't go insulting someone. Don't use, don't ridicule, don't make fun of somebody. So you have to keep the person's feelings and interests in mind. Often you may have to take part in discussions. So discussion is a speech between few people. It could be three people, four people, so more than two people are there. And it is a two-way communication. So it is just not one person speaking. There are everyone speaks and listens. So not only speaking but listening when you are discussing. So let's understand certain points we have to keep in mind whenever we are in a discussion about something. Now, when you take part in a discussion, don't keep talking all the time. Let others speak. Okay. So, if you are to, whenever you get a chance to speak in a discussion, speak what you have to and then let others also speak. Okay. So, everyone in a discussion, everyone must given a chance to speak. Show interest in what others say and listen carefully. So, after you have spoken, if there is someone else speaking, so show interest in their, whatever they are speaking. Just don't, after you have finished speaking, just don't start, fidgeting with other things or doing something else or reading something else. No, you have to listen with interest of what the other person is speaking. So, you have to respect that person also. So, you should always listen to the other person. So, show interest in what others say and listen carefully. You have to listen carefully to what they are saying. The next point is when you agree with others or like their ideas, do tell them that. So here it is a discussion, isn't it? So when you're discussing, the person can is waiting to listen to what you have to say about them. So if you like their ideas, so tell them. Tell them that this is a brilliant idea. Or even if you do not like it, tell them politely. We'll come to that point later. But if you like the idea, okay, you have to tell them at that moment only. Don't say that I'll tell later or I'll message that person or, I'll tell it after some time. No, you have to tell it right there and there so that, it has a greater effect. That person feels proud of himself and feels that, yes, I have worked hard and I have done well and people are liking what I did and they're liking my ideas. So that person also will be very, very comfortable and will start respecting you. Do share your own thoughts and ideas with others. So whatever is the communication skill over there, somebody has spoken, so you also have to share what are your thoughts, what are your ideas about it. So you also could give some input about what is being discussed. So just don't be passively sitting at one place and just listening. No, in a discussion it is a two-way communication. So not only speaking but also listening and also giving your ideas. Okay, so you have to share your thoughts and ideas with others. If you do not understand something, ask for an explanation politely. Maybe, when somebody is discussing or talking something you did not understand. So do ask politely. Don't say, oh, I did not like this. Oh, this is not correct. What are you saying? I don't understand anything. No. So use your pleasant tone, use your good, polite words, and respect that person, and ask that person politely to maybe repeat something or explain it further. Tell that person politely that you did not understand something, so that person will feel very very happy that somebody is listening carefully. And yes, let me explain this. So that person will really feel happy that you have asked that question or want to get an explanation about something. Now, use polite words and expressions when you want to interrupt someone. So, interrupt means, when somebody is speaking and you don't understand or you want to ask a question midway. So, whenever you want to interrupt, use polite words and expressions. Now, expressions is maybe you could just raise your hand, or maybe, show on your facial movements that you want to say something. Okay, so use polite words. Don't be very, very harsh while speaking. So, you say, you can excuse yourself and say, excuse me, can I interrupt you for a minute? Okay, so that person will feel comfortable and will, of course, will oblige and will tell you, surely you speak what you want to. So if you have to interrupt, for as far as possible you should not interrupt when somebody is speaking. Okay, so respect that person speaking, and let that person complete what he wants to say. Maybe he makes that clear later on. So after some time maybe that point is much clearer. So wait if you have to, but if you feel that I have to interrupt, then you have to interrupt with kind, polite words and expressions. When you disagree with someone, or when you seek explanation and give them. Okay, so whenever you have to interrupt someone, or when you disagree with someone and you have to interrupt and you have to say, no, 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 I do not agree with this point. Okay, you have to stop that person from speaking. Only then interrupt. Otherwise, do not let that person explain. So whenever you have to disagree with something, whenever you have to interrupt someone, or when you have to seek explanation, when you don't understand something, so give them a chance to explain, and with polite words and expressions. So do remember all these points when you are discussing some point, and you are in a discussion, you are in a group of people talking and discussing something. Often, you may be asked to give a speech, maybe in school or maybe outside school, to a large gathering. So, there are certain points you should remember before giving a speech. So, when you want to give a speech, remember, children, to plan your speech in advance. So, you have to plan what you want to talk to. Remember whom you're talking to and what is the topic about. Who is your audience? Are they very small children who are going to listen to you? Or they going to be elders listening to you? Or is it going to be a mixed crowd? So keeping all these things in mind, you should plan your speech. So you should know your subject very well, what you're talking about. So even that should be very, very clear. So all these things you should be well prepared. Prepare for your speech well in advance. Then note the points and arrange them properly. So you can carry some notes, some cards with points that are written. Don't carry the whole speech with you and read it out. That doesn't look good. Okay, people will not want to listen to you. They will not be connected to you what you are talking about. So you have to prepare your speech, what you want to talk about. Maybe you could jot down certain points. It is very, very important to write down the points on what you have to talk about, because often sometimes certain points slip out of our mind while we are talking. Okay, so it is always healthy, always good to have certain points written down and arrange these points properly, okay, in a chronological order, in an orderly manner, so that when you're speaking, you are comfortable moving from one point to the other. So you know which point will come next. So you have to glance at your points and always look at the audience, because we had already seen, no, when we did the points earlier, that you should look at the person. You have to have an eye contact. So even in a large gathering, so try to look at the audience and just don't look down and read from your paper or points. Okay, then rehearse the speech in your mind and go ahead. Okay, so plan your speech, prepare for your speech well in advance, and just before your speech also, just revise everything what you want to speak. Don't be very overconfident and say, yeah, yeah, I know all the points, I can do it. Don't be so overconfident. You have to have that confidence with you. So the confidence will come only when you practice, only when you rehearse. So do remember to, rehearse your speech, prepare for your speech, do a mental note of everything that you want to speak about in your mind. Just say the speech over and over again, so that you do not miss any point, and you are confident of each and every point that you have to speak about. Apart from these points, there are certain things that you should remember. That is, before your speech, always, you know eat healthy food. Don't overeat and go. It may make you feel, drowsy, sleepy, or feel uncomfortable. So always have a light meal before speaking. Then you have to dress appropriately. So dress according to what the occasion is. So don't be very heavily dressed if it is a very formal gathering. So think about where you are going to speak. So if it is a party, of course you have to wear party clothes and go. But sometimes you have to go on a gathering where there is a serious talk about something. So dress appropriately. See how your appearance is. See how your personality looks. So dress very, very well, and drink water. Okay, so drinking water is very, very essential. And if you're allowed to carry a bottle of water, do carry it, and sip some water. Okay, so whenever you have to talk for a long time, so it is very, very a healthy experience to carry a small bottle of water with you, and you can sip the water instead of, having a very harsh voice or a very rough voice and be uncomfortable speaking. It is always healthy to take a sip of water if you have spoken for a long time. And then always stand naturally. Okay, don't be very stiff, don't be very, loose. So speak very, very, stand very naturally, as if you are talking to a friend. So sober down, be comfortable, calm yourself. Okay, and always engage with your audience. So understand whether what kind of audience is there, and accordingly speak. So these were some of the points that you should remember when you are in a public speaking place. So, do remember these points, children.
I hope you all understood the points on how to be a good speaker. Thank you. Happy learning to all.